So today in class, as a former Disney Imagineer, we're doing one of my favorite things. We're talking about how to make a great story. And the students are actually making stories just with brief, little couple, few second videos to create an Instagram story. And what we are doing within this is talking about the importance of good beginnings and good ends. And that when you get these two parts right, which many people do, not get right, whether they're making a blockbuster, an ad, or an Instagram story. When you don't get those right, this seems less magical wherever you go, whether you're going to Narnia, an amazing experience, what is ever happening. So let's talk about how you get good beginnings and ends, and I'll talk about what my students are doing in their Instagram videos to achieve these things. So, with a beginning, what you want to do is most likely something important, magical, wonderful, serious is going to happen here. You want to start in a space that is outside of this zone. So in Lord of the Rings, though it starts in this magical place of the Shire, the magical place of the Shire is much more mundane than where they go. In Narnia, they're in the real world before they go through the wardrobe. At Disney, we have this idea of the rabbit hole. Any single time you're getting on one of our rides, we're going to slowly transition you into the magical world. We're not just going to shoot you straight in there at the start of a ride. For the Instagram videos the students are doing, whether they're doing an Instagram video about being in the business building, whether they're going to one of the awesome places on campus, like a sports stadium or the gym, it's important for them to have a clip at the start of their Instagram story where they are outside of it. They're walking in. You see it from a distance. So this thing is going to seem magical because they're entering into that space. Now, sometimes in stories, as we know, we don't really immediately start here. We actually get a tease of this, right? So in the movie The Matrix, we're getting a tease of the interesting way the world of the Matrix works before we go to the boring, mundane world of Neo. In Star Wars Episode 4, we're getting a space battle with Princess Leia and Darth Vader before we get to Tatooine. But we quickly go to those places. We see YouTubers do this as well. They'll give us a tease of what's coming. So a makeup video will show you a tease of the finished makeup, but then it will quickly go to the start of the story. A trick shot video might show you the setup for the amazing trick shot. A science video might show you a clip of the actual experiment at the start, but quickly it's going to get to a more mundane beginning space so it can have the story form. All right, so now let's get to endings. I think beginnings people understand pretty well, but it's the endings that I think people have the most trouble with. Sometimes it's because they just choose not to have an ending. They think, well, shouldn't I end on the peak? If the most exciting moment is going to happen right here in the movie, in the story, in the concert, in my Instagram story, in my night, shouldn't I end on that moment? Well, not really. Because endings allow you to show that, yeah, you went to a magical world because you were returning from it. Endings allow for a moment of reflection, which some of my research suggests makes what happened here seem more meaningful. And lastly, endings focus on the idea and allow you to get at the concept that most underlies story and is the most basic definition of story, which is story is just change over time. And so what you want to show in your ending is that you or the world has been impacted, right? In Lord of the Rings, when Frodo returns to the Shire, he's changed. So is Sam in different ways. In Narnia, when the kids come back, they're changed. In our Disney rides, we make them slower as you return. And the idea is you went somewhere and now you're returning. Maybe changed. Maybe you've saved the universe, like in the Buzz Lightyear ride. In old stories and fables, they actually would have the moral here at the end. And while that may be a little over the top to do in certain spaces, having a conclusion where the story implicitly, or the YouTuber, or the Instagrammer, sometimes maybe explicitly talks to the camera about what happened, how they experienced it, how they themselves have been changed. Maybe they went to a concert and they'll never see the artist the same way again. Maybe they are inspired. Maybe the people who made the science video actually learned something themselves, so they themselves have changed. If story itself is, and it is, all about the idea of change over time, such that what happened here went to here, and something happened here, such that here is now different than there, we need to show the end. Though it's not a Disney example, maybe one of the best examples of this is the How to Train Your Dragon movies. All three of them have a beginning shot of the city of Berk and then an ending shot of the city of Berk that emphasize how things have changed. In the first movie, Berk doesn't have dragons. At the end, it has dragons. In the second movie, it has certain people and certain dragons, and at the end, it's added new people, lost a few people, and added new dragons. In the third movie, it has lots of dragons, but at the end, Berk is in a different place, and the dragons are gone, and the people themselves are different. And they bookend it mostly with those shots. So, whether you are making a blockbuster movie, a Disney ride at ANCAD paid, or you are just putting together an Instagram story of your night, thinking about how you get your beginning and your ending is essential to telling a good story. Because even if what happens here is amazing, if you don't show the beginning and you don't show the ending, then you are unable to show the true impact, magic, and importance of the core of your story. I'm Professor Troy Campbell, and this is what we talked about today in class.